Good afternoon, and welcome to another fiscally terrifying episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. And now here's your limpid and braggadocious host, Voice of Doom. Good afternoon. Don't have anything planned today. I was just going to talk about the current affairs in what used to be this United States. Focus a bit on the supply chain and how it ties in with the history of religion in a way. I'm going to try to tie in a few things together. I've always had a problem with Christmas, even when I was a kid, and I enjoyed Christmas, and I liked getting presents, and I thought I was grown up when I was about 8, and I could go to the store by myself with what little money I saved up and get gifts, and of course every kid enjoys Christmas, and we had great Christmases in Seattle. All the families were there, both sides, and we could celebrate with both sides of the family. And Christmas was a cash cow. It was a treasure trove for a kid. You get a bike, you get a bowling ball, you get a tennis racket, And it's great, and that's fine, but I'm always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, it's a religious holiday, and yet all this hoopla and commercialness, I guess you could use that word, it's a good word. The commerciality of Christmas was apparent to me when I was 8, back in 1967. And I always wondered about that, and then, they'd say, the wise men came from the east to visit the king, the newborn king, that they had gotten a omen of the star of Bethlehem, that there was a king born. Everything was a big deal in those days, celestial happenings. And they said, well, the wise men gave Jesus gold, frankincense, and myrrh. It's a beautiful story. I mean, the Advent and the Nativity is a beautiful story. And some of the best music ever written has come out of that story, and it's great. But somehow it's gotten lost, and I mean lost, because people that profess in God and Jesus, and they're a lot more actually open about it now than they were 40, 50 years ago, where people kind of hid their, religious beliefs under a bushel basket. And now they're saying, that I'm a very devout Christian, and if I see the words Happy Holidays in the store, I'm not going to shop there for Christmas. And when I hear those kind of words, I go, the delusion is encrusted in your being. That you would say I'm a devout Christian, and if I don't see the words Merry Christmas in a department store, then I'm not going to shop there. Now, I don't think I have to explain why that's ludicrous. And it's an insult, and I'm insulted. And I'm insulted for the Christians. I'm insulted for Jesus, because it's gotten so far out of hand that nobody even thinks about the baby Jesus, or thinks about the meaning behind the holiday. The highest of holy holidays in Christendom has been sullied, not just sullied, but just scrapped. It's not what it's supposed to be, and nobody treats it like it's supposed to be. Oh, we'll go to the midnight, Christmas Eve services after we open our presents. And it's all well and good, but the presents overshadow. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because not only do we have to ask Dr. Faustus whether we can have Christmas from a social standpoint, like, can we get together for Christmas, doctor? Well, yes, I'm going to celebrate Christmas, so I would say yes, celebrate, the fact that we have to ask some idiot that doesn't know anything. I don't care how many degrees he has, and I don't care how much money he makes. He doesn't know crap. Oh, can we celebrate Christmas? And then, okay, now we're going to get to the supply chain. Christmas is going to be very disappointing for kids this year because all the merchandise is stuck out in the LA harbor. And it's stuck out there because they're not working 24/7. The truckers that aren't there and the longshoremen that aren't there aren't working 24/7. And if the workers were there, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to work 24/7 because of all the overtime, and God knows how much money they would make working the graveyard shift. There are no truckers and there are no longshoremen. So stay open all night long and watch things rot that much faster. And this so-called leader, Petri dish, made it very clear he wanted to end fossil fuels. He wanted to cut out fossil fuels. Now, instead of slowly making inroads on making it more attractive to switch toward sustainable or reusable or renewable energy and letting nature take its course, letting the economic free enterprise and supply and demand and innovation and invention take its course. He's like, if we get rid of all the gas now, then they'll be forced to go to electric cars. If we get rid of the pipelines now, that'll force people to use windmills. So he always gets the cart before the horse. Did it in Afghanistan. If we take the troops out now, then they won't be mad at us, and when we try to get everybody else out. Everything's done backwards. So he cuts off our oil supply, makes energy that much more expensive for people. And by people, I mean truckers, I mean the companies that ship things, the railways, the trucking lines, everything goes up. When the gas goes up, prices go up. It's obvious. So now he bemoans the fact that all these ships are sitting out there with their cargo not being unloaded. Well, we need to get truckers out there. Well, you didn't make it, you didn't give anyone an incentive to be a trucker. And now all the truckers are retiring and taking their pension, and there's no replacement truckers because you're making we're not going to have that, so why bother? Why bother expanding? Why bother producing more oil in America when you're trying to curtail us and you're cutting us off at the knees? So let's go big OPEC again for oil. Let's go ask Russia to, increase their production so they can send more to Europe so they don't need so much from us so that we can get, idiocy. And that's being kind. So I go to the grocery store yesterday. And when I used to go to the grocery store like 2 or 3 days ago, 4 days ago, you get your cart and you put your stuff in it and people are going about, bustling about, getting their stuff, and they stand in line and pay and leave. And when I went to the grocery store yesterday, it was more like some sort of a school board meeting in the grocery store because everybody was standing around looking at the shelves and looking at the meat section and having political discussions and having discussions with the employees. And it's like, what is this about? Because the meat section, forget it. You may as well go to a car dealership and start pricing cars because 2 steaks, $41, things along those lines. The 5-pound economy size of beef, 60%, beef and 40% fat is like 15-20 bucks. So it's kind of like, I could find a few things. I found a pound of bacon for $4. I usually buy the store brands, the generic, and that tends to have better prices. But I like to buy a lot of canned goods when I'm at the store. I buy at least 10 cans of beans or chili or soups, because I can usually get them for like $10 or $1 per can or less. There's always stuff on sale. Even the Chef Boyardee or Ragu or anything. So I could always buy $10 worth of canned goods and stash them in our stash. Those shelves were empty. Anything that had a sale tag under it was empty, because they are hoarding now. That's why I told my kids we got to start, like last year we had to start, because I knew what would happen when they start hoarding. So the shelves are empty, and the shelves that have things on them are priced at the point where you just glance at it like you're window shopping on Rodeo Drive. Like, yeah, I'll look at the window and not even look at the price tag, because if I see it, I'll be aghast. Because people will pay $15,000 for a sculpture in those little shops, and I don't know where they get the money to do that with, but it was an experience at the grocery store. Now, I bought a pound of bacon, I bought some dog food, and I bought a economy thing. Instead of buying individual cans, I bought something like 12 cans for $9. It's not that bad. I bought 3 Roma tomatoes and onion, and I bought some cooking sherry, because I want to dress up my soup a bit. And I bought some eggs, and I didn't even buy eggs because Benjamin bought that. I bought 2 pounds of ground beef for about $5 each. And then I decided to splurge on myself a bit, and I bought myself a puzzle book, and that cost $6.79. I like doing puzzles. It keeps my mind sharp. So I treated myself to a puzzle book for $7, and then I passed through considering buying a bottle of cheap stuff and some Coke, and then I saw Evan Williams eggnog in the bottle for $9, and I decided I would splurge. So I will say I spent about $16 on luxury items, puzzle book and whiskey eggnog. Got to the counter thinking I'd probably spend about $30, and I'd ended up spending $56, and I had to look at the thing before I left the store. And a lot of people were looking at their receipts when they left the store. I mean, they're got their basket by the door, and they're looking at it like, wait a minute, something's wrong with the adding machine. And those computer adding machines in the grocery store are pretty accurate. It's very unlikely they're going to have typos. And, we added it up wrong, sorry. No, it's what it was supposed to be. It was $56 for nothing. For 2 pounds of beef, a pound of bacon, some staples, and a couple of luxury items to me. So yeah, hyperinflation is coming. It's already here. Nobody knows what it is, and when they see it, they're going to have a cow. So thank you again, Petri Dish, because, again, you've proven to be an absolute failure in every sense of the word, and the people you chose to be the brains behind your brilliant administration are failures. They don't know what they're doing. And they say outrageous things. Well, the fact that it's inflation is a good sign, because that means people have money and they're demanding things, and that's a good sign. I mean, they got those stimuluses back in the beginning of the year. They got $2,000, so everybody's been saving their money. It's like, come on. I spend my stimulus the minute I get it. It's gone. Saving money. That's funny. That's a good one. No, you're not saving money, and if you are, no, nobody saves. That's a bunch of hooey. And I didn't say anything, but I just gave you a little background on the coming economic upheaval that we're about to experience probably by the end of October. And I wanted to rail about Christmas because now everybody's worried that Christmas isn't going to be here. Because even if Dr. Faustus says we can have Christmas, we can't because all the Christmas presents are stuck in LA Harbor. You guys better get with it. If you're going to be Christians, be Christians. Don't talk. Don't say our thoughts and prayers are with you. And don't talk about Jesus and God as if you are devout when you're worried about whether your kid is going to get the latest upgrade on their phone for Christmas or the latest trend. Celebrate Christmas. And if you want to buy presents, buy presents. Have a winter fest. Have a pagan holiday. That's what it's based on is, harvest comes in the fall. And then you celebrate and you save up for winter because you're not living in the 21st century. You're living in the 14th century. So you stockpile your stuff and you have the stockpile and then you have a festival. I mean, it's just human nature. It's a cycle of humanity. It doesn't have anything to do with Jesus. Jesus is his own thing. Celebrate his nativity in a pious and holy way and respectfully. And get with it, because I'm sick of it. I don't want to have to lecture you, because I got no dog in that fight. You want to do what you want to do, do it. You say you don't want to go to a department store because it says Happy Holidays, then that's your delusion. It's gone too far already. I'll let it go. I'll talk more about this as it unfolds into a big, messy rubble pile. So cheers, and happy holidays.